Good morning. I'm Catherine Ross, and I'm joined by Jim Cramer. We are both joining you via Skype this morning in our efforts to do our part of social distancing. So, Jim, what's top of mind for you this morning?
Top of mind for me is the wrong stocks going higher. I think that at the end of the month, what happens is people say, okay, I want to buy some of the losers, betting that they're going to turn into the winners. So there's Russia buying into the oils, or Russia buying into Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, the betting that these companies have seen their bottom and they went in. And I would rather buy companies that do well in the new economy, not the old economy. I prefer companies like CrowdStrike, like a Zoom, which is down today. I don't mess around. The world's changed, and if you want to buy Chevron with the idea it's going to pop from 73 to 76, go ahead, make my day. I think that what matters is you think about the new economy, and the new economy does not necessarily include some of these oil stocks where the price of oil is incredibly low when you get down to where it's actually coming out of the ground.
Every day, Jim, we're hearing about more and more cases of coronavirus, and we're also hearing about more and more testing being made available, specifically Abbott's 5-minute test, which we discussed yesterday. And I want to ask, based on that, is the coronavirus battle won when we test everyone, or is it when Americans start taking this more seriously?
No, the coronavirus stops being lost when we test everyone and people take it seriously. Right now, we're on a path to lose. We're on a path where everybody gets it. We're on a path where hundreds of thousands die. We're on a path where you can still have churches and synagogues where there's just lots of people getting together, somehow feeling that they're immune. There are still people going to the beach and having a rollicking good time. And I'm not saying those people are going to die, but I am going to say that those people are part of COVID's battle to win. And COVID's been smart. COVID is a very powerful enemy. But that Abbott Labs has struck a blow. J&J potentially has struck a blow. When we do social distancing, it strikes a blow. But every American should worry about dying first. And that's a different thing. The people who are dying are younger. You have to practice good hygiene. You have to try to stay at home. You really have to understand that this thing's deadly, and you don't want it to kill you. And as long as you think that it's not the flu, and you realize the gravity and the fact that the hospital you go to may not be able to take care of you because it doesn't have the supplies, then you recognize what you're up against. You're up against a powerful opponent that will kill you, and it's not will get you sick. The numbers are horrendous. And there are people who can sugarcoat the numbers, but they're crazy. I think that deep down, if you ask every American now in the last 24 hours whether there's a chance they could die from COVID, I think they're going to say yes. I think that there was a period, even leading up to last week, where people said, it's not going to be me. And then 2 weeks ago, it was like the NBA, whatever, they stopped. And the president is realizing you can't make a joke about social distancing, that we're just getting there. Meantime, Dr. Fauci was telling us it was going to happen all along. But the first battles that we've won were Abbott and maybe J&J. I say maybe because vaccine's really hard. So maybe people take it seriously. I think when you go by a tent city in Central Park and you think of the Battle of Atlanta and you're going with the women's scene, that you recognize that you don't want to die. And I want to emphasize the people who are dying, the profile's very changed. In Italy, it's 79, 80. It's not that here. We're a younger country. But if you have diabetes, if you have asthma, if you have a heart condition, if you're obese, there's a very good chance that you could get it and die. And I think that people have to recognize that if we're going to win. If you think you're just going to get it and get over it, I think that that's not something that can be counted on given the state of the healthcare crisis and the fact of how unprepared we were, given that we had a little head start. I'm not trying to scare people. I'm just saying this is the way it is. And, we talk about it. My friends talk about it. And my friends, the discussion 3 weeks ago was, let's have a beer and talk about it. Now my discussion is, I'll have a virtual beer with you because I don't want to die. I mean, it's not like I don't want to get sick. I mean, it's a terrible thing to say, but that's what's happened. And if people get mad at me because I said that, well, I mean, in your inner thoughts, in your darker thoughts, as Shakespeare would say at night, do you really not wonder whether you're going to be the one? We all at this point, I think, have friends who died, or friends who are on a ventilator, or friends who look like they're going to die. That's what happened, Catherine. In the last week, we all found out about people who died, and it's a different thing when it's, hey, he got it, and it took a little while to get better. So I think that plus Abbott is going to lead to a change in behavior, and we can figure out who's tested, and maybe we can stop being political about it. I mean, there's this hydroxy drug, and I want it to work. And there was these French guys that did a study. There was a group of guys who claim they're from Stanford. They're not really. I don't care. I mean, we're desperate. Try it. But what I would have thought by now is that some of the authorities would have said, you know what, Eureka, we've got this drug. But it's become a Fox News thing. It's a president thing that it works. And I just want a doctor to say it works in America. But where I think what's happening right now, Catherine, is people are recognizing that it is a fatal illness if you're not careful, or sadly, even if you are.
And I think that you've hit on something that I want to dig a little bit into before I go on to my next question. And that's simply that what you've hit on is the seriousness of when you get it and you are one of the ones in the ICU. And there's also the fact that you don't know if you have it. You don't know if you're passing it on to someone who could be the next person in the ICU.
What?
That's what the social distancing is about. And so when the media, especially when we talk about numbers, for example, when I say like New York is technically sixth on the worldwide list when case numbers, I'm trying to tell people, be careful, because you don't
Yes.
know if you have it, and you don't know if
Yes,
you're
and that's
passing
why
it on to the next person you've just passed.
hospital. It'll help. Do the doctors have it? We were losing doctors. We're losing nurses. They'll be on the front lines. Maybe that it's just going to start with 50, and then it's going to be 100. Then it's going to be 150. Maybe we'll figure out how to get the Roche test working fast. Maybe we actually will have something in front of a Walmart or a Walgreens, which we really don't. That was a Potemkin village. I mean, maybe we are going to be starting to get actual tests the way we thought through Abbott. And that way, what will happen is we won't be like Madrid. I mean, every morning starts with a phone call, a text from me to my daughter in Madrid, saying, it's so great that you're not leaving. It's so great that you're not leaving. She's been in her apartment for 3 weeks, and it's great to me. But that's what you have to do to win. And it's a win. You have to win the war. And obviously, Madrid does not have that many people. And Spain doesn't have people doing it. You wouldn't have 900 people die yesterday. I think that what happened in New York is tragic. We were encouraged to go out. That's exactly what happened in Philadelphia in 1918 in the Liberty War drive. They encouraged us to go out. And, people do what their leaders tell them to do because they're their leaders. And, yesterday there was an article about going in the subway, and you saw people in the subway, and I said, oh, my. We need, people need the money so bad. I know that they can't have a national lockdown, which is what I've been proposing, would end this thing faster. And then people have a job to go to. And the government's giving you some short-term relief. So, you got to take it, but you got to take yourself out of harm's way. If you can, take yourself out of harm's way. And then you don't touch your face, and you use good hygiene, and you're not sneezed on. If you're sneezed on, that's why you need to be alone. If you're sneezed on, you're going to get it if someone has it. And now you're going to be in a hospital, and they may not have the gowns, and they may not have the things you need, the personal protection, and they may be too filled up, and then maybe you die. And that has become the narrative that was not supposed to happen in the United States.
Jim, yesterday we talked about Abbott and we talked about J&J, and Abbott is more of a now story. It's a testing story. But J&J is more of this drug could potentially be used maybe 2021. They're starting trials in September. Based on that, when you're looking at it from an investment perspective, should you be going for the J&Js, which are promising long-term solutions down the line, or should you be looking at Abbott's?
There are people look like Glaxo makes money in vaccines, and that's terrific. They make some money in vaccines, and Sanofi makes some money in vaccines. Those are the two that make money in vaccines. J&J, I think it's more of a demonstration of their prowess and their scale. They can do something. Alex Gorski can put his mind to it, and they can make something. We own J&J Fractionals. I feel fantastic about that. It's something that they had such conviction on that it made me say, you know what, J&J, again, a reminder, great American company. Abbott Labs, great American companies. What we recommend to club members is great American companies, and they can choose which ones they like. It's a recommended list, and they can choose. Then it's Apple's on there, but Broadcom, which is now up 60 straight points from the last buy, that's on there. But Abbott Labs is on there. And why are they on there? Because in 30, let's say actually in 40 years of experience, I know which guys are the good guys. And I know which ones are liable to come through. And Alex Gorski and J&J are part of the good guys. And they're going to come through. And I think that that's a terrific stuff. Right here, by the way. It was up 10 yesterday. I would still buy it.
Jim, we spoke yesterday about your personal experiences during this tough time of social distancing, and I know that many Americans, like myself, are going through having to stay home every day, all day, and we're looking at another month of that. So what's your advice to the average American who's wondering, how are we going to get through this next month?
I like FaceTime. I think FaceTime is good. I like letter writing. I think letter writing is interesting. My daughter likes letter writing. One of the things that I like that she puts together is those memories from Apple, where you have like a memories thing. And then I watch it over and over again, and I really like it. You got to have a series. You have to have a Netflix series or an HBO, Amazon. You have no choice. You have to have one so you can devolve into it. Succession's next on mine. You got to go for walks. For me, it's a little harder because there are a lot of people I know in town, and I don't know whether they're going to hug. It's a little awkward, but walking's good. But I find that fooling around with your iPhone and a lot of good stuff you can do with people. It's really nice. I've also rediscovered a lot of music that I forgot about. And listened to a lot of Wagner. I really like Wagner. So there's a lot of things you can do that are kind of like what you used to do before everything got crazy. Write letters, listen to I wish I had a vinyl. I like vinyl much more than what I listen to. Listen to music, do things that are creative with your iPhone, get in touch with people you haven't gotten in touch with for a long time. Look at your Facebook page and other people's Facebook page and see what's going on. FaceTime. My other daughter doesn't like to FaceTime because she says, Dad, look, I don't look that good right now. I mean, come on, give me a break here. But I just think that you getting in touch with people really, really matters. I miss my wife terribly. It can be very, very difficult to understand the nuance. And when she's having a great time, she's got kids out there. When she's having a great time, I'm thrilled that she's having a great time, but I'm conscious that I'm not. I have a job where I went home last night. I had PayPal today, and I have Marvell in about 15 minutes. And then I got AGCO, and I got Palo Alto, and ConAgra, and I got to read the ConAgra conference call. But I am consumed by work. I took on this extra half hour in the morning show, and I am just, I'm slammed. And being slammed is good for me because it makes it so that I don't have to think about the fact that I'm alone.
Jim, let's talk about the investor. What should the investor be looking at for the month ahead, since we're going into, this is the last day of the quarter?
Well, I think you have to steel yourself. I mean, let's say you own JP Morgan. Well, you don't know whether Jamie Dimon's going to be on the call. You know that it's not going to have a great year. You know that it's a premier franchise in a world where the European banks have been just completely decimated. So you're buying the number one bank in the world, okay? And it yields 4%. So what you have to say is, it's down 32%, that I am, let's say you don't own it. I would wait till 5% because for all you know, they make them give up their dividends. Jeez. But I don't want to give up on the premier franchise in the world selling at what could be 10 times earnings if they cut numbers. So I'm going to take pain. And I think what people have to recognize is you should be in a pain-taking mode Don't own companies with a really bad balance sheet. JP Morgan has a fortress balance sheet. Don't own companies like if you're out there buying Carnival, let's say you're buying Carnival Cruise today, you're trying to raise some money. I mean, think about this. Will Carnival Cruise have any demand? I mean, one of the things that's just driving me batty about the cruise lines, whether it be Norwegian or Royal or Carnival, which is up despite the fact that they canceled the dividends, is that who's going to take the cruise? Now, maybe it's entirely possible that they give the price away, give them the real price, people to say, I'm willing to risk it. But as long as there are cruise ships out there with crews that have COVID, I just don't see why you want to speculate on that. Maybe Carnival, you think you can buy it at 13, sell it at 18. I don't want to trade here. I want to invest.
All right, Jim, thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. And as always, please send in your questions via Twitter. You can tweet at us at TheStreet or at by Catherine Ross. And AAP members, please continue sending your questions into our AAP team's email. So guys, thanks for joining. We are now heading over to our Action Alerts Plus daily rundown show over on actionalertsplus.com. I'm Catherine Ross, and we will see you tomorrow.